but that's small enough that trying to keep that resource going for the next 15 years or whatever is going to be difficult unless you get a little bit more wide reaching like falls as well. Correct. Okay. And does that involve making a board, forming a board of which somebody here is a component?
It could be what we did with our CARE grant, and I'm thinking we might be able to do something similar, is we run it through our coalition. So our coalition applied for a 501c3 3-1 status several years ago. So we applied for our drug-free communities through our 501c3 through the coalition. And so that's how we're applying for this one as well. So we can use our monthly coalition meetings as our update meetings. And Mr. Nelson and Mrs. Merchant are a part of those coalition meetings monthly. So we kind of already have that covered that route.
Questions, comments?
So have you discussed this internally at a staff level and just
Tammy has discussed it with me. So before, when they first received the information, she shared it with me and asked about coming to the board. I attend the monthly coalition meetings, so I'm definitely in the loop with all of that. So I would be very comfortable being a part of that.
Thank you, then.
Yes.
And that was an identified need at the CHI public thing. So
could you touch real quick if you have numbers for the county?
We are in the process of gathering that for the grant application. Doris is housed at school part at CHI, so she's been trying to gather information on that. So we don't have exact numbers now, but we can get them very soon because it's part of this application is having those numbers. So when we get them, like we can come back to next month's meeting and report out what we found out. Just
bring that up because Superintendent Nelson and I were at a CHI meeting, community meeting, and this is apparently it's way bigger of a problem than I know I ever dreamed of. So yeah, I mean, let's try to, if you have any of those numbers, it would be good to reinforce on the community that, yeah, there is a problem.
We're trying to get data from CHI, behavioral health, from law enforcement, from ambulance. We did a school survey for the staff class last several years, and last year when the staff class did it, they actually asked questions on mental health and COVID and how it was affecting them. So we have data for that. So we're just kind of trying to pull it all together and then go through it and see what picture it is.
Okay. Do you remember how they termed it at the meeting? They said we're not quite Tennessee, but we're close, which is scary.
I can laugh.
And I don't see this on the board agenda.
Yeah, I would assume we have an official action we have to take to give away an employer identification number? Or is that just a recommendation that, yes, let's get involved?
It's just an application. It doesn't mean
not
they're only funding 26 nationally. I mean, it's a grant. You never know if you're going to get it or not. But we at least want to.
So this is more informational.
Sure.
Application will be done, and once they're approved, then any formal board action as far as
once it's
accepting the grant
be done.
And stuff like that would be.
So
you mean approve, like if we got the, if we were to be awarded the grant, then come back and say yes, do the official yes, like that, or you can approve, or we submit the application.
What's your
Well, that was what I was wondering.
no, I'm not reluctant. I just want to, like, I would support it, but do we need to take official action? And maybe we should do it tonight because what happens, I don't know.
Do you need it tonight? I mean, what would be just a matter of making a modification to the board agenda and going from there, right? Or would it involve more than that?
We've never had, like when you apply for grants for forestry, we've never had to, again, it is based on school effort.
I don't think it needs a formal board. It's just informational. If you support it, I can sign off.
There is a letter of commitment that has to be submitted with the application. So if you need your motion and approval in order to do a letter of commitment.
Or can we just recommend that Jeff do that?
Consensus that we're supporting it.
And direct Jeff to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we're talking about it, because we won't have another board meeting.
Right, timing of it.
We want to make sure that we have our...
Whatever you're comfortable with, Jeff.
Yeah, I would say, it's like putting an ad in the paper for an employee, let's direct you to support that. And
Yeah.
if we decide we want to take the money and apply it up 2 months from now, then I guess that's something different, right?
So I don't think anyone's gonna object to it, so I think we would just,
Okay,
I would sign off on the letter and, are you okay with that, or do you want?
As long as you're comfortable with.
As long as you
signing
don't
an
need
official
anything,
letter of commitment
as long as
saying
you guys
got
don't
the
need a
grant.
board resolution, that was what I was concerned about, but.
I don't think that we do, it doesn't say that on here, it's just more of a letter of commitment signed by all consortium members, included the proposed work plan. So you can, I mean, we can show you, send you
Yeah,
what the work
yeah.
plan would be. So you basically, signing off saying, yes, if you got the grant, we would be one of the partners.
Yeah.
So I just need a thumbs up, we're good to go.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good luck.
Tennessee.
Well, no, I was shocked. I thought here we lived in,
Well, it's not West Virginia anyway, I mean, Tennessee, that's okay.
well, there's some county in Tennessee that's like the poster child of how not to run an opioid program. And
Yeah.
apparently we're not quite that bad yet, but we're close.
Well, and I think that mental health component is important from every aspect for the county, so.
And this grant is specifically for rural communities, so it does help us limit the competition.
Yep.
And we're a frontier county.
And we're a frontier county, not only a rural, we are designated as frontier.
Yes.
What's defined as a frontier
You
county?
guys are in
I
the
can't
sticks.
remember. No.
It's geographical area with, it's a
Population density.
population, some type of equation that it takes your
Uh-huh.
geographical area with your population and does something, and only specific areas get that, frontier. And that is actually kind of what helped us get the CARE grant. the frontier.
They're going through the designation, looking at the counties. It's like, these guys have to drive 2 hours to get to a Walmart. Yeah, they're from frontier for sure.
Get that in the grant application.
Distance from the nearest Walmart, that's the defining criteria.
Our kids have to drive 35 minutes for driver's ed to practice a stoplight.
We also put in there that we have to enter another country to get to another piece of our
Yep.
county.
I always like to wilderness drive. How do you get more wilderness than this? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and I guess we're done with that. Directed, signed, and if you need more, come back, I guess, but
Okay.
we would.
Good luck,
support it.
write fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had an amazing evaluator in the evaluator company that we work with who was helping us write it, and then she took a different job.
Oh.
She left us in the middle, and I'm like,
Thanks.
anytime.
Okay, moving on, reports from board committees. School forest, I think that the best thing we do every year, we had this past week or 10 days ago or whatever it was, but this candlelight ski, we had no skiing and no candlelight, and it was still maybe the best candlelight ski we've had. Well attended, we did it after daylight savings time, right? So the sun was up till 8 o'clock, didn't need the candles, couldn't get the
Clear
candles to
blue
the back
skies.
40 because there was so much snow.
Yeah.
It was 45 degrees the first day of melt, so any snow that was there was knee deep. I mean, you just couldn't stay on top of it. And how many would you say we had there, Corinne?
50?
50 anyway.
Easily.
50 plus, yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, a lot of kids. A couple of church groups were there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Adults. And
You know, so there seems to be a rallying point, and nobody complained one bit about the smoke, the lack of ski trails, and the burnt hot dogs, and
yeah, we did.
the marshmallows we forgot on the hot chocolate. I think everything about as well as could be done.
It's kind of funny, see the kids come in, they're wet right up to their waist.
Yeah.
Right.
They step off the trail,
T-shirt
they
and
soak.
jeans.
Even with snowshoes, they were having a blast out there
Yeah,
this
it
year.
was good. It's good.
Normally, we try to keep people around as long as we can. We built the fire up big and couldn't get rid of them this year. I mean, you were there. I mean, it was dodging snowballs the whole time.
Yeah.
Those are fun events. That's what makes it fun to be on that committee. Anything else for school forest? I mean, we really haven't had a meeting now in a bit, so
Yeah.
we gotta get our spring trees figured out and move on to that.
Have you guys ever talked about putting like getting some evergreens of some sort growing on the north side of the building, kind of get a bit of a windbreak going at some point?
Not yet. We discuss every year where the best application of the trees and the workforce would be, and generally we're talking about third graders planting these things. So, but most of our effort right now has been trying to get that football track situation at least enclosed a little bit. Baseball, Woody, you donated some trees. They planted a batter's eye around the center field there, and you can look. They haven't grown a lot, but I'm assuming all of a sudden you look one year and they're 8 feet, 10 feet tall, which we're all. But so yes, if you got suggestions, feel free to make them about specifically where they go, because we're always looking for.
We had talked several years ago when Reed was around still and about different planting options, and it always goes back to maintenance and snow removal and taking that into consideration. So
Yeah.
Where are your underground utilities? All that other
Yeah, the rink expansion, I mean, just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Where the trees are going really well, found the sewer line.
All right, policy committee?
Last time we met, we talked about fundraising policy. Sam and I have met, and we'll have something at our next policy committee meeting to get approved and bring to the board as far as just clarifying a few things.
kind of the bulk of the discussion was how to define it. What's fundraising versus what's not.
So we'll have a,
Which group?
so next month we'll
It's
have
very
that
clear.
to get that situated. And then I had, last month I had an error on the policies that were approved. 503 student attendance should have been approved and adopted after one reading. So we're fixing that up tonight. And then policy 425 staff development, that was the one that should have been up for 3 readings. So tonight it'll be approved for its 2nd reading. I think that was pretty much the bulk of policy.
Buildings and grounds, I will read off the agenda. We had a lengthy meeting on several topics, but if any of these something you want to hear about, I'll make one of us, or I'll allow one of the 4 of us to go ahead and chime in on it. But there's a survey being offered that would look at whatever shortcomings we've got in terms of buildings and grounds. It's a costly survey. It's a $20,000 potential, but it's something that the board might want to consider. We talked about our long-term facilities maintenance projects, windows specifically. We talked about a lift station treatment, which has been a problem, getting our wastewater over to the town. Apparently we're too far and not enough water. Sidewalk curb stuff, I mean, that's every year. We've got talked about that. The dust collector in the shop. Sunday building hours, which may be a good discussion item, and possible addition to the work staff. So those are the things we covered. And if there's things you want to hear about specifically, fire away.
The Sunday schedule, because that's not a decision point.
Do you want to talk about that now, or?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so we're running into is being short-staffed. And I have not been able to fill that position yet. And I've been working every Sunday since Bertle retired. And what I've noticed is the most people that I've had in here on any Sunday is 7. And those were the guys playing basketball, 7 or 8. And they were here for maybe an hour or so. So my recommendation is shut the school site down and keep the community ed site open, because they do have a trained supervisor on duty. And then for the maintenance staff would be on call, where we'd rotate it. If something happened, there was an emergency, somebody get a phone call. Whoever's turn it is that day, come in and take care of the issue.
When you put someone on call like that,
Yep.
is there compensation for that?
That's what we're gonna discuss. Probably, is it gonna be 1 or 2 hours? We're not exactly sure, but yeah, they're gonna be compensated for being on call. And then if they have to come in, then it turns into hourly.
Okay. But the compensation is probably hourly too, right?
Yes.
For the hours they're on.
Right, 1 hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
it'll have to be, it's a contractual thing, so
Yeah.
we'll have to get together with that
Yeah.
SEA.
And then most
Yeah.
likely anybody
I
on
mean,
call.
I just wanted to think about budget implications for adding that.
Yep.
You know, it should be offset probably by the Sunday hours, but, you know, I'm not sure on that.
Yeah. And a lot of the buildings, Sunday hours have disappeared with verbal retiring and not being able to
Yeah.
replace that.
Yeah.
So those people that still play basketball can use the other gym.
Absolutely. That's what that was built for.
Or if,
Is there a reason they weren't using it for?
My understanding is this is a better gym.
Preference.
Uh-huh. Yep.
All right. Once again, half a dozen other highlighted subjects. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details on all of them unless you're curious. I mean, the lift station treatment, which was a sticky situation. The building survey I'd like to touch on once again. I don't have the, what's the name of the company? You know?
What was David? What was his? David Pace's.
You have some of his literature available in the office, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And what it is they're offering to come in and for $20,000 roughly, come in here and oversee the entire site and figure out what it is that we're short on in terms of long-term investment, what needs addressing. And would, at that point, I mean, even to the point of, I guess, referendum assistance, things like that, if we decide we want to do some big stuff. They've got a fairly decent track record that they submitted, but schools around the state where they have worked with them. It's a question of, do we want to spend that money and then find out? Or I think as a committee, we were kind of in agreement that it's not a bad idea. We probably should look at what we're going to get ourselves into over the next 10 to 20 years. But things like the pool, for instance, you know, might be a good example where they're pointing out things that don't get so far beyond repair that they become fairly expensive propositions, not just routine maintenance ones. Roofing, for instance, windows, a lot of the things we've touched on, but just trying to make sure and not going over said, just somebody who's in there contractually to point those things out to us before we get too deep on them.
and they provide guidance on, for different projects, what funding's available and how to access different funds, or if you need to do a bond or a referendum, they would help with that in the process.
Did you guys seek them out, or did they come?
They seeked us out. So
Okay.
what we could do is, if the board was interested and wanted to have a presentation at a working session on what they would offer, I'm sure we could get someone to come.
Or even talk with another school that's used them, and
That's
what is
he's
their,
gonna do.
okay, I mean, that, be my lean right away.
And there are other companies that do this. This isn't the only one. They were just the first one to step forward.
I think they're the second one.
So the facility is 20 some odd years old now, so I mean, things are gonna have to, we're at that point where we wanna do
So
more
that-
in-depth.
Who was the Brian Bolter? He helped us with the LTFM thing, right?
He does.
But he
Yes.
isn't able to do that anymore.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I mean, I just was thinking.
He does a
of-
piece of it, he does all the mapping and stuff like that. He
Yeah.
does
That was what I
a
was
lot of it,
thinking.
some of the
that-
stuff is piecemealed in.
Yeah, I was thinking that he did some of that.
Yep.
Long-term planning with stuff.
Yep.
So Seth is gonna just do some research with other school districts, and if we wanna bring a rep in to discuss what that would entail,
So we would be thinking the timing of it would be in next fiscal year.
yes.
Make the decision so it could be included in the budget.
If I can go back to the Sunday closing, because it is an action item. What we're asking you to do is to approve closing the building for Sundays, as Seth described. The exceptions, could be exceptions made for groups, activities, and events that have completed facility use process and that their arrangements have either to bring a custodian on site, or a school staff member, supervisor is on site, and a custodian is on call. And for some reason, we can't contractually have an on-call person because it's not currently in the contract, then we would have to, on a Sunday, if they wanted to use the facility, they'd have to go through getting a custodian and paying for that cost, so. Basically, what you'd be approving tonight is that technically the school building would be closed on Sundays. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yes, and I guess.
But it's still available if a group wants to sign it out.
Right.
But we have to go through a process and we have to find either a supervisor or a custodian to be on site.
We're adding some formality to the system because there is sort of not pointing out specific groups, but there are groups that expect things to happen on a Sunday that we just want to make sure we're legitimately covered in terms of insurance and in terms of just damage in general.
I have a question. So then that group that comes in and plays basketball, someone has a fob to give them access to the school. Is that how you handle that then?
I believe so.
It's adult basketball, it should be done through community ed.
Right, and I was just, because if someone's coming and opening the door for them, do you know what I mean?
I don't think they have a fob. They come in during building hours on Sunday.
Right, but that's what.
The doors open already.
Right, but that's something that will, you have to not give everybody
Yeah.
free access. 'Cause
And we
there are
talked
groups
about
in
that
there.
too, is
Yeah.
once someone gets in the building, then it's.
Yeah.
If you're signing up for that,
Control.
you're also accepting the responsibility of limiting the number to what you
Yeah,
expect.
oh, yes, but that was what I was
Yeah.
just curious about, that then they would,
Ideally, we'd have custodial staff here on Sundays the
yes.
whole weekend, then it wouldn't be an issue, but it's not the world we're living in right now, so
Temporary change,
this is temporary change. but-
right? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on there? Sticking in someone's craw?
This isn't sticking in my craw, but, you had mentioned a potential.
Tennessee,
for-
I'm just trying to keep
Okay,
it Tennessee.
I was checking. I just didn't want to get quoted that it was stuck in my craw.
I don't even know where your craw is, quite honestly.
Anyway, I was just curious about, you had mentioned someone as a potential groundskeeper. Did that pan out for you, or
We're still working on
we're
it.
still working on it? Okay.
Yep, what I'm having a really hard time doing is I need a half-time person,
Okay,
and they want full-time. So over the years, I would be adding another half-time to my budget,
okay.
and I'm not comfortable with that yet.
Okay.
I haven't, not all the needs that I have.
Wasn't Bertle full-time?
What's that?
Wasn't Bertle full-time?
Bertle was full-time. But we have Dave Kendall now. He
Oh.
was part-time.
Okay, I remember that now, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I
yeah,
don't
so
remember
Dave
that.
is now full-time and picked up half of Bertle's.
Okay,
So that's where we're short the half.
yeah,
And the one that's looking for a full-time position is not willing to work weekends, and that's where my shortcomings are.
yeah,
And I'm not comfortable yet with hiring somebody full-time and not having my needs met.
right, exactly, yeah.
Takes 1.5 people to replace Bertle.
It does.
That are willing to work weekends.
And they could work, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move on to Superintendent Jeff Nelson.
Okay, enrollment report, I'm not gonna read through my notes there, but basically, we're at 432 students, that's K through 12, and that's down 2 from February. COVID report was in your packet. I didn't get today's meeting all documented yet, but we've had 2 positives in the county for pretty much the month of March so far. Last week we tested 7, there was no positives. The week before that we tested 10, and those were all negative. So we're basically, in my mind, back to pre-COVID practices and happenings at the district. So I would just recommend that we leave things where they're at with a low rating for our COVID positivity and just keep plugging away.
Be thankful for that.
Yeah, knock on wood. So I think that's all I have for my report, unless there's any questions on anything, or
Okay,
shortest report I've given all year.
keep it up. High school principal, Mary Merchant.
Good evening. Students in grades 7 through 11 went through course registration last week, so Diane and I are feeling really good about being ahead of where we were last year. And we are actually looking at, because the needs being driven by it, adding another period of welding, which, the solar is going to be able to work out. So, we will have our welding 2 kids 7th hour with some welding 1 kids. It'll just be senior 7th hour. And then the, 10th and 11th graders, and it's gonna go by age order, so it'll be juniors first, will be 6th period. And, yeah, the kids went and, Diane and I met with them 2 weeks ago, shared the schedule, and I let them know it's gonna be driven by our older kids, and we'll adjust things. Needed to make very few adjustments, so, it'll all be online, and we'll get ready to let everybody view it online, which means this is your schedule, before, the end of the school year, which will be really good, I think, for students and parents in case there's any changes. And then MCA testing, is hard to believe that April's coming up on Friday, but that means testing season is here, so Diane has all of that scheduled and we're ready to roll, mostly for elementary and high school. And National Guard was here last week for our juniors to take the ASVAB, and then they come back and explain the results with the kids afterwards. And a senior trip looking at taking place May 12th to the 14th, and very similar plans as last year, going to Duluth and then Minneapolis, with the addition this year of a Twins game. So looking forward to that for our kids. And prom is scheduled for April 30th. And high school teachers, the last time that we had a meeting, it was March 14th workshop day, because I knew we had extended time. So we talked about Alice training that the staff went through during the August workshops, and then doing training with just the high school students at this point to go through barricading the room. So we will practice when we have our next all-school lockdown. Elementary will do what they've standardly been doing, but then high school is going to practice barricading classrooms. And some of our doors in the building open out, so Seth and I have been in communication, and Seth's done some research on sleeves you can get to put over the doors so that we can secure those doors. The doors that open in are going to be easier to block, obviously, than the door that opens out. So, how many doors were there, Seth? I don't remember. There were more than.
There was quite a few. I think we're 30 plus.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
How many kids take the ASVAB test?
The juniors, all of them.
They all take it?
They all take it.
No choice?
No choice.
Okay.
Some will question us on it, and then after we talk about it, they hopefully have the buy-in to see this. Because it's to help point out your interest areas, and that helps us with guiding you when we're looking at your college or career planning. So I think once they understand the purpose behind it, we're able to convince enough the buy-in to take it and do your best.
Once they found out, it doesn't mean they're actually joining the military at that point in time.
Correct. It is a service the military does for us, and I'm very appreciative of it. It helps a lot.
Okay, business office, Crystal Landine.
All right, we have all kinds of exciting stuff tonight. So we went through the monthly budget report. For the most part, we are on track, and going through, we just went through some of the areas that were pointing out that we're showing high percentage is over. Most of those items are going to be adjusted once if we approve the revised budget tonight. A couple that were extremely high that I just wanted to point out though was as far as like textbooks. They were 231% over budget. That has now since been corrected, and we actually used some extra $2 for that. Miscellaneous expenditures was 361%, and most of that is related to the credit card payment. It has been coded there, and I just need to work on reconciling that and doing journal entries to put those expenditures where they need to be. Another one was, where was that? The other Minnesota Department of Education, which isn't a large dollar amount, but we weren't expecting very much in revenue, and the SLE grant, Social Emotional Learning Grant, did get quoted there, which that will be adjusted as well. Did anyone have any questions on the monthly budget report? If you guys have any report?
If you're using ESSER dollars to overcome textbook oversight or overspend, how does that correct itself in the next fiscal year when there's not ESSER dollars available?
Well, this particular year, we had a new curriculum. Am I correct on that, right?
Is this the elementary,
Yes.
the 92,000? Yes.
Yes,
So that was actually already budgeted in capital.
yeah,
So the ESSER dollars is replacing,
yeah.
am I saying that right?
Because they were available to use
So
as opposed to taking it out.
We
So
do budget,
essentially
we
we
budget
can-
curriculum.
So
So was
essentially, we can build the capital more, but we do have like an actual curriculum schedule as well. So things are budgeted for, but in this instance, we were allowed to be able to use ESSER dollars to compensate some of those expenses.
Are ESSER dollars that don't get used up, they get sent back? I mean, you're expected to use that up,
You're expected to use them, yeah.
but you have to find approved
Yes,
sites for them.
And that comes with my next thing. Also attached in there was all the spreadsheets of all the different finance codes and all the spending and all the different account codes. And so this is how Lake of the Woods is planning on spending all the different ESSER dollars. ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 have been budgeted for. They were with the original budget as well as with the revised budget. And a lot of it is just a matter of coding and matching new FARs up with SERVs as far as that goes. If we end up where we don't have enough expenses to draw down those funds, then we can roll forward those funds and use them in future years, because we have until 2024 for most of them. Things that have not been budgeted for was the summer school program. So we have $13,150 and then $113,161. So if for some reason we don't use all of that this year for summer school, which I have a feeling we're not going to spend that much in 1 and 2 weeks, we can also roll those funds forward and use them for future years, like 2024. And also on here, you can see the ones that have been closed out already. So we have already expended those funds and have drawn down the funds and received those funds. And then going forward, like I had mentioned to the finance committee, I will, because there's different draw, the government wants you to draw down the funds quarterly. So then each quarter we'll draw down funds, and then I'll just update the spreadsheets and present those to the board. Questions on COVID dollars?
Really good reports. Thank you very much.
And I will give props to Carolyn from SMS, because she helped tremendously with all this, took off a lot of pressure, and she knows her stuff and what we can spend it on and what we can't spend it on. And basically she's like, do this. And I think we were overthinking it a little too much as far as how we needed to do these things, but so grateful for her as well. I think money well spent. Any questions? Okay. Otherwise, I'll move on to, so we're going to be presenting the revised FY22 budget this year, and there isn't significant amount of change. We are anticipating now versus a balanced budget, we are anticipating an increase to the general fund of approximately $24,362. There was an increase to the revenues for approximately $170,000, and that came mostly from the county apportionment revenue, which is from the transmission line again. So that increased from $81,000 to approximately $400,000. There was a decrease in the CONCON revenue from $243,000 to $293,000, And then our foundation revenue, which is just our gen ed fund, revenue went from 4.1 to 3.8, and that's based upon enrollment of 426 pupil units. And then our expenditures increased slightly as well. The main increase for that was the replacement of the chiller and the controls that we had not anticipated budgeting for this year. But so that's where we're at with the general fund for this year. Food service, both expenditures and revenues decreased slightly, but we're still anticipating on a slight increase there. And then the community service fund, obviously the revenues decreased slightly, but not much, and that just depends on tuition. They could increase as well. And then the expenditures increased significantly due to, again, the pool resurfacing. So the revised budget is just reflecting that. So as a result of that, we're anticipating on a deficit of approximately $290,000 in community ed. But like stated before too, we will recoup those costs over the levy over the next couple of years. And then the debt service fund remains the same. So, any questions on the revised budget? In this little overview thing too, I did put in the share drive for the finance committee too, so that is in there as well.
Questions, comments? Really thorough. Thank you. Sam, Activities Director, she's in St. Cloud.
Yeah, no report tonight.
Buildings and Grounds, we've gone over some of it, Seth. We have more to.
The only thing that I got to add to is, between Brian Belter, myself, and Crystal, I believe we have the LTFM. So,
We should actually be able to bring that probably to the school board in April.
yep, which is ahead of schedule. Yeah, about it.
Okay. Brad Abbey, Transportation. Don't see him, so I'm gonna move on. Food Service, Cece.
Okay, during one of our Tuesday webinars, on our Tuesdays at 2, we had a webinar that explained the process that USDA was going to bring in the schools. $17 billion for the whole country. And the state of Minnesota got a nice chunk of that. We, the Lincoln Middle School, we were allocated $12,332.11. This isn't a grant, it has to do with our supply chain during the COVID pandemic. And we can only use these funds for certain things, mainly for food for the students. Can't be used for labor or administrative costs or anything like that. And there's some required record keeping that they're going to have to do on this. One of the things that because a lot of times they want you to use it for like art school, things like that. We don't have the opportunity here for it. So one of the things that they suggested that we use this money for is just for help. That's what we are. There we go. See? And so it's just going to be I did give copy to Tim of this. It just kind of explains the things that the schools have gone through with COVID, some of the supply. Jackie would have liked to come here to explain some of the things that they had help with. We finally got the pizza this last week, so we were happy to get about breakfast. So there are some problems that we didn't include. And the other thing that she had on there, she did apply for a grant. I don't have any information on that. But she did do any information on that as well. So, yeah. But she's hoping to get that
So the steak and lobster lunch is out.
Can we get fish sticks?
There you go. Fish sticks and hamburger patties.
Question, comment?
It's not something we have to apply for anything, it's just given to a certain percentage, we get $5,000 for each school, and then we would give them a percentage of our students.
So that's our cut out of 17 billion dollars.
Okay, thank you. IT, Billy Chambers. The doors, again, I mean, any discussion on that? It's just all locks getting changed?
It's the fob
It's the
system.
fob system.
Okay.
It's the readers.
What does it go to, a different fob system, or?
It's going to, he's got a couple quotes, one looking at reusing the fobs that we have, but that would almost be just as expensive as changing over to a card. As the system we have now currently holds 4, what did he say, 4 readers per card. They don't even make them anymore, so we'd have to add in just about double or triple the amount of readers to get the system up to date to be completely functional. He's looking at the other ones, the 2 quotes he got, I believe, are for one's for fobs and one's for cards.
Now would the cards be, like I noticed, nobody has them on right now. You guys had the employee cards and stuff like that. Would that
You
also
could
activate the
slip
doors?
that in there, as I understand it, so.
Yep.
My understanding is the Wichita can you can use the fobs, or you can do the cards, or there's a reader that if you have a sleeve with your ID card that just slips in there. So it seems like the most practical one is the Wichita quote. And so, but basically we just have to update a old system that's, and that we're using safe school dollars for that, so it's budgeted for.
And that'll be free.
Yeah.
I mean, work gets done on that over the summer kind of thing. And 52,000 is what I think I saw.
Yep.
The numbers.
And because we currently have 62,000 in safe schools, and then we'll be getting 17,000 more revenue this year, and we'll probably spend maybe 5,000 max. So we'll still have a fund balance in there as well.
Okay, any further discussion on any topic?
We have 10 minutes?
10 minutes?
I got a few things I can throw out there.
Okay.
He thought I was done. I forgot to mention, I sometimes forget I'm elementary principal some things at these meetings. Elementary family night is this Thursday, running from after school till 7 o'clock. And I can send out the different things that the class, each grade level is doing. I have a printout there, I should have gotten more. So anything from like kindergarten is doing family bingo and class displays. There's third grade is doing a maple syrup project presentation, pancake snack for third grade parents. There's a living wax museum in the ITV room that night. So it's kind of an open house, student-led type thing, different things going on. And also, if parents want to set up a conference to discuss their child's academics, that can be arranged as well. So that's on Thursday, Thursday. Book fair, we have book fair that night as well, and next week. We're doing a Ticket to Read fundraiser. And there's lots of good prizes with that. There'll be a table set up that night, and I think they're going to have on display Marilyn Mai makes these fabulous fur mittens that are like worth $600 and some. So, and a quilt, and there's hats, and I think there's a 270 rifle that was from Outdoor again for that drawing. So we have that going on. Wednesday, we have Dr. Anton Troyer, who's a professor at Ojibwe at Bemidji State University, and he wrote the book Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians But Were Afraid to Ask, and he'll be presenting to staff on Wednesday right after school.
Oh, really?
And I have a stack of his books in my office. I think some of you actually might have a copy that you probably need to return when you're done reading it, so we can pass it on. So he'll be here, and that's supported and by our American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. So, yeah, he's very.
Wednesday?
I have never.
This Wednesday?
This is
like
Wednesday.
day after tomorrow?
Yep. He'll be here at 2:45. It's an early out Wednesday. He'll be in the auditorium at 2:45. So if you can make it in to that, you might want to make the effort.
Okay.
I'm running out of things now.
That's fine.
That's all I have.
And
there.
the student night was Thursday again, you said this Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have probably gone in a logical.
But it was this Thursday? I mean,
This
so-
coming Thursday,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, anybody else have something they would like to contribute? Feel free.
We're gonna start doing budget meetings for next year's budget. Hopefully, well, we haven't discussed it yet, but I'm thinking maybe Monday and Tuesday we can try to get a few of them in, cause then I'm going on vacation for a week, but we can get hopefully most of them done. And we start working on that.
And you bring that up because, A, you're doing it, but B, the finance committee members should be there for that, or other board members as well?
No,
Just saying with the different departments.
yeah, we'll just meet with the different departments and just see if there's needs that are outside of what is,
Okay.
typical type of thing. If we need to be looking at that as far as budgeting or adjusting the budget or that type of thing.
Some of these positions that have been hired through the COVID dollars, I'm assuming you're thinking about that, but how do you foresee that?
Like the
Like
COVID coordinator?
Yes,
coordinator,
that'd
is
be the main one. And
Yeah.
then there was a new IT position, I thought,
Yep.
as well.
That one, I'm hoping we can spread out over 2-3 years. And probably anticipate.
And we plan to start getting our, long-term plan, cause that kinda went away for a little while doing a bunch of this, but to get that up and going again, so we can
Do
look to
some
the
projecting.
future and see if that's something we can maintain or not, or, where we're at with it, cause we'll have, I think it's next year, unless it's the year after, the enrollment's gonna be a little lower again. So, doing that 5-year long-term plan again, as well as the capital outlay plan.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
Baseball and softball field should be ready to go on time.
I saw Katie when I pulled in here, she was out inspecting it, or at least,
Bertle had-
baseball field's pretty close too, isn't it?
Yeah, Bertle came in and donated some of his time and trained, I think John on how to clean that, Kyle also. So when it comes to that time next year, that they'll be able to just jump in and take it. So he is able to drag, I believe, the varsity softball field is dragging off the,
Oh, he did get a drag in.
he got drag in on that one. It was still too sloppy, I guess, per se on the juniors, and I think the baseball fields too. Waiting for them to dry up just a little bit more.
The frost is out yet.
What's that?
I'd be surprised if the frost is entirely out yet.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close yet.
It's gonna keep getting sloppy.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why he tries getting in there, even when the frost is still there, if the dirt's dry, but the frost is there, you open it up and it allows the heat to soak in and the moisture to come out, pulls the frost out. We're ahead of schedule. with those projects, so that's a good thing.
That was really fortuitously timed. I mean, you guys scraped those scales on like the 2 days that you actually had the opportunity to do it.
We sat down and we looked at we watched very diligently the forecast. And this year we had literally a 2-day window to get everything done, like you said.
Yeah.
That was it, got it done.
Did you see the Alberta Clipper that's supposed to be coming through with you?
Nope.
Hey, wait, you're done. You said you were done.
In AccuWeather, as we call it, is calling 4 to 8 inches of snow on Tuesday through Wednesday.
You know, I have been very fortuitous, I guess you could say, because I've been following the forecast program I have on here, and it's been 99% accurate. Most of them, when these big storms are supposed to be coming through, mine says maybe an inch. Some of them said inch to,
like less,
yeah.
but maybe that was, well, I was just getting a text message a little while ago saying I'm supposed to go to
Plus
Christmas Wednesday morning.
when it is
Everybody's
snowing.
going tomorrow.
When it is
And I'm
snowing,
like,
the
oh,
overnights are gonna be almost just
yeah,
about
I guess I'll
freezing.
go if that's what everybody's doing. I'm like,
Just might be wet and sloppy and inconvenient.
Yeah, and then if it falls as rain,
did you say
it's
4 to 8?
that's what in AccuWeather said, 4 to 8. It came across that this afternoon.
There was a
It's
time
like,
they were
whoa.
talking 10 to 15 inches. They backed off
Just
on that.
exaggerate.
Wow.
So they
Hadn't
were,
heard
they
that one.
want
That
more
was about
attention
10 days
than they want.
That was AccuWeather or panic weather?
Yeah. I swear I looked and it was like an inch, but
No.
It's all about
Doesn't
making
matter,
you
right?
return to the website again and again. It's
Depends on
selling,
which one. Some of them
they're selling weather now.
can vary
Duluth
rather
is still
drastically.
at 12 plus.
Are they?
They've been getting just pummeled this year.
Yeah.
Better them than most.
You
Some
talk
of them-
about lots of frost in there, and I understand that on the road surfaces, but
No, there's not much frost in there. There's still frost there, but it's only, I think it only went down 30 inches is what we had measured.
is that, I was gonna ask you, how deep did that frost go this year?
It,
where does it usually go?
it can go feet, like,
Yeah,
I mean, if
with
you
no
get,
snow.
yeah, if you get a cold without snow, it'll go like 6 feet.
But you look at the ball field, and I mean, there was a lot of snow on those. I mean, good insulating snow. So that's why I'm excited about, like you say, we're actually ahead with all the snow we had. We're ahead of what we were last year. We were still in the gym doing soccer.
Yep. Well, it's kind of funny when track started, like Tim was out there seeing it, there was kids walking around, all you can see is about that much of their head above the snowflakes running on the track.
I figured that was 2 weeks out, and then 3 days later, they had a full practice.
I couldn't believe how fast the snow went.
I don't know,
Yeah.
it just doesn't look
Yeah.
nice.
You know, that one day. it
Gusts
was
of 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And all those deer walked out from somewhere where they were hiding all winter, but I mean, they're in every field right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess. It's a good thing
Well, if
somebody's
anybody
nice.
wants a break, now's the time to do it. But otherwise, I'm gonna stand up and start the meeting. Everybody all right with that? Okay,
Not that they're not fun.
pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Somebody move the flag. We're all pledging to the clock.
I'm glad you caught it before.
All right, call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the addition of resignation by Cynthia Hanson, the early childhood special education teacher.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Sonstergaard. Discussion. Once again, we're not doing an action item on the opioid counseling, but other than that, I don't think there was anything. Okay. I see there were roll call votes in there, but I'm just going to go with it. Formal vote. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we've approved the agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes the approval of minutes, the approval of invoices, statements, and bank reconciliation, the approval of personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments, specifically Carrie Johnson as an assistant cook and Cindy Hanson as the ECSE teacher, and the appointment of Alexandria Flores as the ECSE teacher.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I'll second.
second by Sonstergaard. Discussion. I saw in the packet there, Alexandria Flores is coming on till the end of the year.
No, we're hiring her for next year.
Okay.
Cindy will finish off this year, and then next year we'll have Lexi come in.
Okay, and that starts next September 1st
Yeah,
or whenever.
effective.
Yep, August 26th or something. Okay. And did Cindy step in there because we had the need? So I want to just say thanks for doing that. I don't know if she's listening, but I really do appreciate that, stepping forward when we needed her. And then the assistant cook position, we're back out to advertising again.
I'm still advertising about that. I think we took a break from advertising.
I think they're making it work okay right now.
How many cooks do we have?
3, well, we have what? Maria, Micah,
Jackie.
Barb, and Jackie is, yeah.
And the thing is the hope is to get to the end of the year and then sort of look at it again and start new with the recruitment process.
Because we're kind of designed for 5, right?
Well, and I'm guessing that really helped to have
Judy
take over the
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Bears Den.
Oh, yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Board presenters, I got none. Written communications, I've got none. Old business, I need a motion and a second to approve the building schedule for Sundays as presented in the working session. And it's in your board packet.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Sonsengard. Discussion.
This is following Seth's recommendations for how to run the Sundays. Okay.
Basically, we'll post the times and what parts are open, but basically the building's closed on Sundays, with the exception of the pool.
The community, yes.
The weight room and.
That
Multi-gym.
part would be open.
Yep.
As long as there's staff in the pool.
Correct.
Okay.
So the pool's closed, that section's closed.
Sure.
So basically, it's closed unless there's scheduled things, so.
And they've gone through the formal process of,
Yep, if there's a group that wants the big gym, they'd have to go through the facility use.
Are those hours like posted on the website so that if people are wondering if it's
Well,
open?
we'll get it posted.
Yeah.
And we'll post it on the
We'll have to
door.
get it changed on the
Yeah.
doors too.
So basically, you just want the public to know that there might be some Sundays where the building's locked down and closed. Things are scheduled in there. Which is just a change from past practice.
further discussion? Hearing none. I've got a motion and a second to approve the building schedule for Sundays. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the revised fiscal year 22 budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I'll make the second.
second by Johnson. Discussion. Okay, hearing none. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none. Passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the quote for the door access system.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Ellis. We didn't have a lot of discussion or presentation, but once again, everybody comfortable with the quote, 52,000, and stay safe for safe dollars.
Looks like we only had 2 quotes, and the one that we're awarding was definitely looked like the superior one, so.
Okay, well, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Need a motion and a second to approve and adopt policy 503, student attendance, which is a single reading process. Okay?
I like the motion.
Okay, motion by Sonstergaard,
Second.
second by Johnson. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. Passes unanimously. Motion and a second to approve the second reading of 3 readings, just to get all that squared up, of policy 425, staff development.
Make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Trask. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. Passes unanimously. Motion and a second to adopt a resolution 2021-2022-013, accepting a donation of $100 from the American Legion for the backpack program. Sonstergaard,
Second.
second by Johnson. Discussion. Thank you very much. It's just been an ongoing good thing. I know some of you guys in the room were responsible for starting the backpack.
I
and
have
it
one
keeps going.
question. How many people do we serve, or how many backpacks do we provide on the weekend? It's just curiosity.
I had to look up.
Okay,
And I'm not. The numbers have gone down.
okay. We had just, someone was talking about it from another community that their church was getting involved, and I was just curious, so nothing major.
Okay, we got the motion, we got the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Further business? Hearing none, I'll adjourn the meeting, 7:09. Sonstergaardian, in terms of speed. Your name's long enough, we should make an adjective out of it.
Yeah.
shouldn't we?
But it's still approved, it's just.
Did you see these couple things here, Tim?
I saw the name there, yeah. I
Okay.
haven't dug through them yet.